2015 is arguably John Cena's best year. It comes down to 2015, 2010, or 2007, with the United States Championship losing a lot of its prestige by that point, as it was usually held by mid-card guys, lower mid-card guys, or comedy acts. By this point, everyone associated it as a mid-card title, and just a counterpart to the IC Championship. It had never been held by a big main event player. This is where John Cena came into play. After he held the United States Championship for the first time back in 2004, he had decided to start back on the hunt for it, deciding it was time to give new stars a shine and stay away from the main event picture for a while. Little did he know, he would send that United States Championship right back up there. After winning it at WrestleMania 31 in front of over 70,000 people, he would start what most of you guys probably hold in high regard, the United States Open Challenge. You guys know what this one was all about. He would come out, talk his sh, and give anyone in the locker room a chance to shine. After weeks and weeks, all types of different challengers would come out and answer it. The first one was Dean Ambrose, and in a strong effort, he would have probably match of the night with Cena, which even saw Dean Ambrose apply an STF, which is unusual. In the end, John got him with the AA and took home the win. John, a proud champion, left the arena with a smile on his face, and the crowd chanting on their feet. As the weeks went on, a new challenger would answer his challenge every time. Stardust, aka Cody Rhodes, got put down. Xavier Woods and Big E got put down. Zack Ryder and Kane got put down. Until one day, John Cena came out in Montreal and issued the challenge. And just like every week, JBL said the phrase, "Who's it gonna be?" And this music hit. No way. John Cena, with a shocked face, looked over and the crowd popped like maniacs. But it wasn't gonna be Bret Hart at 58 years old, right? Right, so Heath Slater's music hit. But it wasn't the social outcast himself either. Bret Hart was there to introduce a hometown boy. From Montreal, Canada, Sami Zayn. The crowd went even crazier for this. From NXT, which was starting to hit its stride, the brand's heart and soul came to challenge John Cena for the United States Championship. As we all know though, as he made his infamous entrance, he would swing his arms up and dislocate his shoulder. But at the time, we didn't know this. Like a pro, the match would start and Sami took it to John Cena, in a style that we hadn't really seen from anyone in WWE, let alone someone facing the biggest star in the company. John was taken to the limit with back and forth action, including anything from headlocks to AAs and blue thunder bombs. Sami would even go to do his classic post dive DDT, which is so satisfying to watch, but does he even do it anymore? I haven't seen it in a long time. In the end, John Cena would hit an AA and come out with an impressive victory that night in Montreal. John Cena, like a true champion though, would congratulate Sami after the match and raise his hand in front of his hometown crowd. A truly great United States Championship bout.
When I was 14, my mom got a contact for a wrestling school, training for 2-3 hours.
Don't have any wrestling experience. I'm a big fan. Former football player.
By Crook, and the Crook is bowling.
Jerick hits the ropes. Uh-oh.
Yes!
NXT champion!
The next week on Raw, from Richmond, Virginia, John came out and did his typical open challenge. Hit the JBL, "Who's it gonna be?" And then this music hit. As most of you guys would know, Kevin Owens was killing it on the indies all the way through the 2000s and 2010s. And in 2014, he had finally signed with NXT and instantly made an impact, turning on his friend Sami Zayn and winning the NXT Championship in a matter of 2 months. Finally, the top guy in NXT was facing the top guy in WWE. He grabbed a mic and told John, "I would introduce myself, but you know exactly who I am, don't you?" And after a couple of verbal exchanges, John Cena said to him, "Let me give you some veteran advice." Kevin cut him off though and said,
I've been doing this longer than you.
As cool of a line as this was, I don't think it's actually true. I did some research and it says John Cena made his debut on November 5th, 1999, and Kevin Owens made his a couple months after, on May 7th, 2000. Yeah, it was a cool line, but unless I'm missing something, I don't think it's true, but feel free to correct me in the comments if I happen to be wrong. Kevin told John that Sami Zayn was injured before he even faced John Cena, because he was the one that injured him. John Cena reminded him that, hey, the US Open Challenge is still open. And Kevin declined and raised his championship as that was his prize. Then Kevin caught him off guard, kicked him, and pop-up powerbombed him. He stepped on the United States Championship and raised the NXT Championship. Back in the day, this was a representation of two sides of WWE. One side had the PG era kids and John Cena fans, which the United States Championship represented, and the other was this up-and-coming desire for a lot of hardcore fans who wanted to see work rate increase and indie darlings take over WWE. That was NXT, and this statement signaled the emergence of it. So the match was set for Elimination Chamber. It was going to be NXT champion Kevin Owens taking on United States champion John Cena. And let me start off by saying it's always the guys people don't expect would mesh well with indie darlings that do. The match started, and throughout they kept teasing the pop-up powerbomb. Cena would go for an AA and it would get reversed until Kevin Owens finally landed a pop-up powerbomb, but John kicked out. Cena hit him back with his own AA, and this time Owens kicked out. This is where the match starts to get exhilarating for a fan, as you know whoever hits the next finisher will most likely be the winner. In the beginning of this match, Jared the King Lawler said this: Owens doesn't look like the type of guy to do a flip off the top rope. King admitted he was wrong though later on in the match, as Kevin Owens did this. I know we are used to this now, but back in 2015, seeing a guy that size do this was extraordinary. Cena would move out of the way and later on in the match catch Owens lacking with the springboard stunner, which in my opinion seems to show the respect John Cena had for indie style wrestling. This to me shows that he kept an open mind and listened to the fans who wanted to see work rate increase and learned a few moves that he could perform so that it would increase his. Kevin Owens would get hit with a huge lariat but would recover, hit John Cena with another pop-up powerbomb, and get the 1, 2, 3 for the win. Yes, Michael Cole faced it best, as it was one of, if not the biggest debut victory ever. A guy who was a champion for what was supposed to be just a developmental brand came up to the main roster and challenged a 15-time world champion and beat him clean in the middle of the ring on a pay-per-view. Afterwards, he grabbed the mic and said, "I have some veteran advice, John. Your time is way up because my time is now, because the champ is here." After all, the point of this video is to show the impact Kevin Owens' debut had on the whole industry, and this right here is what sums it up. Kevin Owens didn't care about the main roster United States Championship when he already had the coveted and prestigious NXT Championship. This made the main roster audience who had never seen the new version of NXT, as it was still new in 2015, get familiar with the brand, as all they had remembered from NXT was the game show, and Kevin Owens, along with an assist from Sami Zayn, showed what the new NXT was all about. At this point, this had been the biggest NXT debut ever. Before this, we had people like Rusev, Curtis Axel, and a few others come up, but none of them made an impact quite like Kevin Owens. I feel like this was the marking point for NXT, the point where it got taken serious, with the point where people started watching and people started believing in the characters that were coming up. This simply put NXT on the map. Honestly guys, I really enjoyed making this video. Like, subscribe, and comment. Do anything that you know made my channel poppin'. Peace out.